N-A-K-A, 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 and I finally became N-A-K-A. 20 pearls represent the Alpha girl, and I'm proud to tell the world I got my pearls.
Alpha Kappa Alpha was founded Wednesday, January 15, 1908, on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C., led by Ethel Hedgeman, a St. Louis native and a Charles Sumner High School graduate. To ensure perpetuity, sorority member Nellie Quander spearheaded efforts to incorporate and expand the sorority in 1913. And in 1920, Alpha Kappa Alpha came to St. Louis. Gamma Omega, originally named Mu Graduate Chapter, was chartered on December 2nd, 1920. This year, the chapter proudly celebrates its 100th anniversary. Its original membership, consisting of 12 college graduates working in St. Louis, wasted no time in providing service to the community. They brought with them a wealth of talent and experiences. Some had studied abroad before returning to St. Louis. One was among the first Black women in the United States to earn a degree in agriculture. Another was a social worker, and yet another was fluent in French and Spanish and had taught in Puerto Rico before returning to join the Sumner High School faculty. Today, the membership has grown to nearly 400 members. 53 innovative and resourceful women have led Gamma Omega with enthusiasm, grace, poise, confidence, loyalty, and a sisterly spirit. As we celebrate 100 years of an influential and salient presence in the St. Louis community, we are proud of our past and present presidents.
Greetings, my name is Kimberly Beck, and it is my honor and pleasure to serve as the 53rd president of the Gamma Omega chapter in this our centennial year. Gamma Omega has a legacy of sisterhood, operations, and service built on excellence. As a sisterhood, we have grown from 6 charter members to 394 talented and dedicated members. In operations, we receive annual recognition for meeting and exceeding sorority standards and effectively executing sorority initiatives. In service, we are able to impact the St. Louis community and beyond through our philanthropic arm, the Ivy Alliance Foundation. From our beginning, we have provided scholarships and programs, and this year was no exception. Despite the pandemic, we were able to provide over $100,000 in scholarships and over 100 acts of service. What we do is possible because of our long-standing partnerships and collaborations in the community. Thank you to our contributors and supporters for your investment in our efforts. It is because of you that Gamma Omega remains set on success and ready for service to all mankind for another century.
The chapter continues to fulfill its 2019-2020 motto by exemplifying excellence through sustainable service. Establishing partnerships and collaborations with community organizations has been a primary focus of Gamma Omega Chapter. In 1921, the chapter began developing service projects for girls attending Sumner High School by promoting academic achievement. That spring, 2 scholarships were awarded, one to a Sumner High School female graduate and the other to a second-year female student attending Sumner Normal School. In 1928, Gamma Omega sponsored the famous contralto Marian Anderson in concert. Proceeds from the event helped support the chapter scholarship fund. Miss Anderson later became an honorary member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. In 1929, the chapter hosted the sorority's national conference in St. Louis. Events were held at 2 Black-owned establishments, Poro College and the People's Finance Building. During the 1930s, cultural events were hosted featuring renowned Black artists, including a concert vocalist, a concert pianist from the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and a ballet dancer and founder of the Studio of Classical Dance located in Washington, D.C. In 1932, Gamma Omega sponsored the chartering of Beta Delta, an undergraduate chapter at Stowe Teachers College. 7 charter members were initiated. In 1934, the chapter's collaboration extended to the Mississippi Delta with the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority's Summer School for Rural Teachers project. In the early 1940s, the chapter launched a citywide Better Behavior campaign in conjunction with the St. Louis Public Schools, the Urban League, and the Argus newspaper. The campaign promoted good conduct and improved race relations throughout the community. Gamma Omega's motto, Respectful Attitudes, was endorsed by public service agencies and displayed on buses and streetcars throughout the city. In the early to mid-1950s, Gamma Omega forged ahead with health-related community service projects, supporting sickle cell disease research conducted at Homer G. Phillips Hospital, partnering with the Tuberculosis Society of St. Louis and the Speakers Bureau of St. Louis Medical Society, and teaming with the St. Louis Society of Crippled Children to assist with their Easter Seals campaign. Gamma Omega's Benefit Ball was one of its major scholarship fundraising events. It began in 1955 and lasted for more than 4 decades. It was indeed a fun-filled affair enjoyed by its members and the community. The 1960s marked a decade filled with efforts to draw attention to unfair employment practices and other injustices directed towards Blacks. This decade sparked a new level of chapter involvement, which required lobbying for a St. Louis City natural disaster plan, marching for civil rights causes, and actively participating in voter registration drives. In 1963, Gamma Omega took an active part in the Jefferson Bank and Trust Company protests in downtown St. Louis to demand jobs for Blacks. Within a 2-week period, members raised more than $10,000, which established the Gamma Omega Defense Fund used to assist jailed demonstrators with bail and court costs. Many hours of strategic planning took place in order to successfully organize critical support. In 1965, 2 Gamma Omega presidents traveled to participate in the historic Selma to Montgomery March. The chapter also became a recognized investor in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference's Freedom Struggle in the South.
Marion Olam, who was a member of our chapter, was one of the Jefferson Bank demonstrators who was arrested. And her husband came to us and asked us to help. And we started a finance for all of the Jefferson Bank demonstrators. And when they were checked out, we paid their court costs. And I will always remember that, and so will the city of St. Louis, because we collected money from all of the sororities and fraternities, churches, and other organizations. We got on the radio. People would walk up to us on the street and give us $1 or $2. And Alpha Kappa Alpha was known all over the city of St. Louis for its work in the civil rights movement. We marched. We met at my house nightly for 2 weeks and raised $11,000. In 2 weeks, we'd go to the bank every night and make a deposit to our Alpha Kappa Alpha Defense Fund. And so that's the thing that I remember most. And we became famous in the city of St. Louis for our work.
Turn me around. They're gonna let no jailhouse turn me around. You know I keep on, I just keep on, because I'm marching on the freedom land.
In celebration of its 50th anniversary, the chapter collaborated with the St. Louis Art Museum to host the first solo exhibition featuring a Black artist. The collection of photographic works by Monetta Sleet Jr. was presented for the St. Louis community. Mr. Sleet is noted for his photograph of Coretta Scott King at the funeral of her husband, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The 1970s also marked the beginning of the chapter's focus on literacy. The first project established was the Gamma Omega Reading Project. It was developed through a partnership with the Literacy Council of Greater St. Louis. During the 1980s, Gamma Omega began a partnership with the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, VITA, that has continued for over 35 years. Members were trained and certified to serve as tax preparers at designated sites. The chapter's signature program, Fashionetta, had its beginning in 1985 and has continued for 36 years. In 2011, the Fashionetta Cotillion was featured in the New York Magazine. In support of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority National Program, Gamma Omega bridged connections with African cultures through AfriCare. The chapter was recognized for its support of the African Village Development Program by the President of AfriCare. Partnerships with St. Mary's Hospital resulted in opportunities for seniors in their golden years and their caretakers to receive vital information for healthy living. Gamma Omega annually supported a bowl-a-thon for big brothers and big sisters of metropolitan St. Louis. To support the global community, chapter members collected over 12,888 pairs of shoes for the Shoe Man Water Project. To help empower women, the chapter teamed efforts with CARE, Cooperative for Assistance and Relief Everywhere programs. A Salute to Veterans Sunday Supper was organized and presented in cooperation with members of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated to kick off the MLK Jr. Day of Celebration. Local veterans and their families witnessed a military salute ceremony, received valuable information from organizations, and enjoyed a special dinner. In recognition of breast cancer awareness, chapter members participated in the inaugural Sister Strut Breast Cancer Walk. Environmental stewardship took an interesting direction. 2015 initiates were instrumental in securing chapter affiliation with the Missouri Department of Transportation Adopt a Highway Litter Cleanup Program. Support for the Little Dresses for Africa, a nonprofit international project, resulted in members making over 300 pillowcase dresses to be sent to African villages. The chapter hosted community resource fairs to provide information from a variety of local agencies offering support and assistance to those in need. To help empower women, the chapter implemented a program to support women's safe houses in the community. Members presented workshops and experiences for middle school girls to encourage high scholastic achievements. The Ascend program was implemented in area high schools to educate students on how public policy is created. The Weekend Wind Down, a Missouri winery bus tour, was organized to support the National Sororities Educational Advancement Foundation Scholarship Fund. The chapter instituted programs to support its 2018 to 2022 International Sororities Signature Program, HBCU for Life, a call to action. HBCU workshops were presented to area high school students, scholarships presented, and HBCU fairs held. During the pandemic, workshops were presented virtually, college admissions process, and HBCU panel discussions. Gamma Omega honored its HBCU alumni as outstanding figures. We are proud to announce that the Fashionetta Cotillion, which was done virtually, was a huge success. More than $80,000 was awarded in scholarships to Fashionetta debutantes and escorts. Stepping is an integral part of the culture of historically Black Greek-lettered organizations, specifically Alpha Kappa Alpha. Gamma Omega has incorporated stepping into our programs for decades. As we compete and win competitions, we are able to raise money that benefits our scholarship programs. Additionally, we often find ways to incorporate our sorority's national targets. In 2016, our theme was Think HBCU, where we highlighted the HBCU experience. Watch as members perform our variation of the Alpha Kappa Alpha signature step, Serious Matters. Fashion show was an upscale event presented by Gamma Omega chapter and the Epsilon Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Talented designers presented their fashions on the first experience runway amid the backdrop of the beautiful ambiance of the Carmel Room. Guests were treated to food, music, vendors, prizes, and a cigar lounge. Proceeds from the event went to support gun violence prevention efforts in St. Louis. Contributions were made to Sumner High School, Sankofa Unity Center, and the St. Louis Coalition for Peace. Omega's 100 years, the strength of Gamma Omega has been rooted in the diversity of its members. The women, ranging in age from 75-year members to recent college graduates, represent a variety of talents, professional disciplines, interests, skills, and experiences. Members complement each other's strengths, allowing for the implementation of a myriad of strategies to build a strong, viable future for our humanity.